Talk to me a little bit more about what you have come to understand about the importance of purpose in general. And then I want to dive a little bit deeper on your individual purpose. But let's start at a little bit higher level with capital P purpose and why it's so important.
Well, it's always been important, right? And when we understand our purpose, we can endure a great deal. No doubt about it. And my purpose in life is to help people reach their potential. And I think about my entire career, I've been doing that, whether it's through mentoring or whether it's developing people at work. It's always been focused on that. And for me, over the last number of years, it's been developing my kids. So that's filled me with this sense of purpose. But I've been looking out into the future and trying to imagine what the world is going to be like. And two things are really clear to me, and that is we are going to live in an AI world, and we are going to live in an aging world. So we're getting older, and global population will eventually decline. And a lot of the things that we did to achieve purpose working may be done for us. And so I've had this idea that in an AI aging world, purpose is paramount. And purpose, the way we achieve purpose may change, but we need to understand what our purpose is if we're going to have fulfilling lives. So that's why I think it's so important. And I've had a individual on the show, actually a couple of individuals on the show talking about purpose. And one of the formulas that has been shared with me is my gifts, my passion, and my values equal my calling. So what are your gifts? What's your passion? And what are your values? And when you have a clear understanding of those, you can have a better sense of what your calling is, what your purpose is in life. And I've always been very clear during my adult life around what my purpose is, but I'm starting to think about how am I going to achieve this over these next 25 years and maybe even beyond that.
Do you have any thoughts or things you've learned along the way that you think are helpful in terms of if you're not sure, if you're not clear on what your purpose is today, here's a step or two to take, or here's what I would recommend. I'm curious how you could help someone step towards that purpose.
Well, the first would be examining those things that I mentioned, which would be your gifts, your passions, and your values. So for gifts, it may not be evident to you what your gifts are. So that's where feedback can come in. You can do assessments to identify those. For values, actually, one of my mentors has a company called Think to Perform. I'm on their nonprofit board, the Think to Perform Research Institute. And they have a values exercise. So if you Google Think to Perform values exercise, you'll find it. It's free. And there's 60 or 70 different values. And what you do is you go and you comb through them and you identify all the ones that are important to you. And then you narrow it down to 20, and then you narrow it down to 15, and you narrow it down to 5. My top 5 values are family, health, happiness, integrity, and relationships. So now that you know those things, and it's remarkable to me that people who are in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s can't articulate what their values are. But when you start to identify what your values are, then that helps with all of the decisions you make in life. And I'll just give a shout out to one of my mentors, a guy by the name of Ray Kelly. I saw him speak. I've only met Ray 4 or 5 times, but I've learned so much from him over the course of my career. He was talking about values, and he was talking about how sometimes our values are in conflict with each other. So for example, family and health for me, they were conflicting. And I realized after hearing Ray talk that, in order for me to be present for my family, I have to figure my health out. I couldn't put my family first and disregard my health. They work in concert with each other. And so I would recommend that everybody go through this values exercise and get crystal clear on what your values are. Because I'll tell you, when I have a big decision to make, all I need to do is run it through the values. Well, does it make sense for me, or it does make sense for me? If I'm making a financial decision, understanding my values, oh yeah, this will be good for the family. This is good for my health. This will bring me happiness, etc. So, in terms of gifts, get some feedback, maybe do some assessments. In terms of your values, go through this exercise. It's wildly, wildly helpful in terms of directing you toward your purpose. And then you should be able to identify what fills you with a sense of passion.